Whoa, we really got to unpack last week's episode of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills dinner. There's so much to say all the way around about that dinner, okay? First and foremost, if you're going to argue, baby, you better argue like Erika, because she nailed it from head to toe. She nailed that argument, hands down. Dorit had nothing for her. She had no choice but to walk away because she lost, period, okay? But let's rewind a little bit. Okay, so first off, Dorit doesn't even realize that she actually proved Kyle's point right there at the table, because at the table, Kyle mentioned some of the things that Bose was saying about Dorit's finances. And then Dorit was like, oh, well, why did you say this to Kyle? And she's like, oh, I didn't think I was breaking your confidence. And she forgave Bose. Now, I think we all know if that had been Kyle, if the situation had been reversed and Kyle was the one saying something to Bose, she would have ripped Kyle's head off for it, right? And not only that, it also proves that the other women are in fact talking about her behind her back, at least discussing her situation, right? And what is up with Sutton? Sutton is acting like a flat out punk. I don't know why, in the confession, she's all like, well, I didn't really have any real concerns about Dorit. Girl, do we need to rewind? Even going back last season, her and Garcelle had a lot to say. And not to mention in the after show, she was one of the ones talking about how she speaks badly about, her husband. And like they showed the clip, she also was talking about the Kelly bag. So I don't know why Sutton is acting like, she didn't have these concerns. And I do recall Sutton have a conversation with Dorit. I think it was last year when Dorit first announced her divorce, was sitting down, was like, hey, like, you really got to understand finance. Like, she was trying to give her some advice or whatever. So, like, I don't know why all of a sudden Sutton is like, oh, I just don't want to be in. It's like, why is everybody scared to just stand on business? Now, I do like that Rachel did admit, she was like, hey, I did tell her to her face that she's late all the time. So I told her. So I ain't got nothing to say. But, I don't understand why people just can't, admit what they said. And even with Bose, if you've said some things discussed some things with Kyle, this is your opportunity to say, like, yes, me and Kyle did have discussion and I said XYZ. But they don't want to do. They just want to leave Kyle out there to dry. So I don't really blame Kyle when she said, you know what, if it's gonna always be like this, then we don't even have to be friends. Period. And I don't blame her. And Dorit has got to be the most self-absorbed person known to mankind, okay? She just acts like she's the only one going through a hard time. They all got stuff going on. Kyle has her, her own separation with Mo that she's dealing with. Not only that, Kyle has been dealing with her sexuality because she's trying to, discover herself as a bisexual now, because she opened up about that. I believe last year she opened up about it, and even some this year. And Bo's got the IVF. But let's be real. Nobody has anything going on more than Erika, okay? And so I think the most astounding part of this dinner for me was when Dorit had the nerve to look in Erika's eyeball and say, hey, are you going through a hard time? What do you mean? The whole world knows Erika's going through a whole time. Like, girl, where have you been? Okay? And she said, oh, well, I don't know, because she just doesn't share it with me. Girl, like Kyle said, it's all over the news. We all know what's going on with Tom, right? We all know that she is dealing with a lawsuit, a $25 million lawsuit, money that she does not have, okay? We all know that. I don't think Dorit understands what friendship is really like. My problem with Dorit is that she always expects this unwavering support from everybody else, right? But does she ever reciprocate it? If you think about it, every time Dorit is having a conversation with somebody, it's always about her, right? Whenever she's talking to Bose, it's about her, Erika, Rachel. I noticed that Rachel has to volunteer information about her life and what's going on with divorce, because guess what? Dorit never asks. And I don't think she understands how friendship work, right? Erika shouldn't have to get on the phone with you and announce her trial when it's all over the news. As a friend, you got to step outside yourself, pick up the phone and say, hey, girl, I just saw this in the tabloids. What's going on? Like, are you good? Like, how can I support you? When does she ever do that? She does it because it's always about her. And I'm so glad that the whole table did call her out about the fact that she did not apologize when they all waited for her on the tarmac, okay? And how she didn't even, like, apologize. She barely spoke. And I'm so glad the video showed that all she did was like, oh, where am I supposed to sit? Just coming in nonchalant, like they wasn't waiting for her for almost 2 hours. I'm so glad they called her out. And then she gives a little phony clock. Well, I'm so sorry for every time I'm late. And then I'm glad Erika stood on business. And she was like, okay, I didn't like the fact that you was late for dinner. Where were you? Here's my thing. You checking on your kids is not really an excuse. And here's why I say that. Everybody knew what time they had to leave to go to dinner, which means that you can plan your phone call for your child in enough time to make sure that you're on time for dinner. And even if the phone call goes longer, what is wrong with you just saying, hey, let me send a text message and say, hey, guys, I'm still on the phone with my kids. Just give me 5 minutes. I think all they're asking for is common courtesy, because every time Dorit is late, she never feels the need to reach out to anybody and say, hey, give me a heads up, I'm late. She just expects people to wait for her. And it's just so beyond inconsiderate. And then she has the nerve to get upset when people talk about it. right? And I see Money funny. She's always so quick to say, well, people need to say what they got to say to my face. Okay, Erika was sitting there telling you everything to your face, and you couldn't even handle it. You couldn't even stay for the whole argument. You got up and you left because you knew you were wrong. You knew you were wrong, and you had nothing for her at that point. But to tell Erika you didn't know she was going through a hard time, it's like, if I'm Erika, I think I'm done at this point. Like, I don't even know if I care about a friendship with Dorit. Because again, Dorit act like the world is coming to an end because she's having a hard time. We all have hard times, but everybody still got to show up. If Erika can put on a brave face and get up out her bed every day and show up to every place she has to be on time, so can anybody else. Because like I said, I couldn't imagine going through what Erika is going through. Her husband, going through fraud, then people thinking that she might have been involved, and she has to deal with all the shame around that. She lost everything. She's rebuilding. I don't think it gets worse than what Erika is dealing with. So for you to have the audacity to say, oh, are you going through a hard time? Really? Like, again, she got to worry about a $25 million trial, and we know she don't have the money for it, right? So I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Erika's problem is just a little bit bigger. I'm just saying. Wee bit. And it's almost like Dorit just frustrates me so much because she just lives in la la land. She only sees her life and what she got going on. Because even with Kyle, it's like, okay, have you really been there for Kyle? Did you reach out to Kyle when she separated from Mo? You know what I mean? Like, it's just all about her. All about her. And I do wish Kyle would have stood on business a little bit about the Kelly bag. I think I even mentioned this last week because, folks, they have an issue with that. Just be upfront about the fact that, like, hey, you don't need to be spending money when you don't know what the circumstance is going to be. Even though she kind of got to that. But, like, you got, my thing is, like I said, you got to argue like Erika. You got to put it all out there. Put the facts out there. Boom, boom, boom. And just put it on out there like she did. So, yeah, that was an argument for the books, I have to say. That was a fight for the books. And to call Erika the C word, even though she invented the word, but I'm glad Erika clapped back, though. Because that is exactly how Dorit is acting. Like, it's nothing wrong with Dorit being strong and standing up for herself when she needs to, but she just has no regard for anybody else. And I think that's the main thing that frustrates me with her. She has no regard for anybody else. She lives in la la land, even about her own finances, right? Like, it's nobody's business how I spend my money. I mean, you're right, it's not their business, but again, it's out of concern because you're the one who don't know where your money is, where the money is. So you're the one who got to deal with it. So yeah, that was a lot. That was a lot. And I don't know where they go from there. I got a feeling that Kyle and Dorit are probably still not even speaking, and I don't even know if Dorit and Erika is speaking at this point. I think Dorit's idea of support is people just telling her whatever it is she wants to hear. And that's really exactly what Bowles and Rachel does. They tell her exactly what she wants to hear, and they don't tell her the truth. Friendship is both ways. I can't be your friend and only tell you the good things, right? If I see you doing something and I know it's not good for you or it could have bad consequences, I'm going to tell you because as your friend, I care enough to say, hey, girl, that's not a good idea. I don't think you should do that. And I don't know, maybe Bowles is a little bit right. Maybe Dorit doesn't take to Kyle because of Kyle's delivery when she says things to her. But I don't even know if it's all that. Like, honestly, yeah. So we really have to see what's going to happen. So things are going to get more interesting. So just a couple of other notes about the episode. I'll just throw out there. They're not really worth talking about, but we can just throw out there. We saw Dorit, doing her photo shoot for her book, and then Bowles and Rachel were there to support her and recap what happened in Italy. And Rachel mentioned that she's going to have a birthday party. Like, she doesn't really like her birthday or whatever, but she's having a birthday party. And then we also saw Bowles, Keely, and Lael go look for houses, even though she's not engaged yet, but they decided they're going to start, looking at houses. So they met with a realtor to look at a house. The house was pretty nice. Nothing exciting there. And then I'm trying to think, Rachel and her son went shopping. He's about to get a job at this place, and apparently he shops there all the time. And she just kind of took that moment to kind of just check in on him and see how things were going with him and her dad. And he was just like, it's fine. She was just like, okay, I just want to check in, which is fine. My thing is you don't need to really ask too many more questions at that. Once the kid is fine, that's it. And then the episode ends with ends with the start of Rachel's birthday party. So they all get dressed up, and I think it's like a sort of like a 70s vibe. So they all get dressed up, everybody shows up looking good. So nothing really happened there, but it's going to go down next week because apparently Sutton and Dorit are supposed to get into an argument at the party. But get this, next week Dorit is supposed to be doing a launch for her book, but I don't think anybody's showing up based off the preview because she's wondering where everybody is. And then I think somebody made it, like Sutton has told her mama, she was like, I don't even think I really want to go. And if we being frank, I don't know if they should go, because Dorit had the audacity to tell everybody at that table that Bose has shown her more support than everybody put together. And I just feel like that's a slap in the face, because I've seen all of them support her in different ways. Erika has supported her. Kyle has supported her sometimes. But even recently, Rachel has shown support. She just met the girl. Kathy has definitely shown support. They've actually met at her house a couple of times to like talk about things or whatever. So I feel like Kathy was the one who went after her. And she better than me. I don't know if I would have, but she went after her and left your sister at the table. So I don't even know how I feel about that. But maybe Kyle's indifferent because she knows that she's friends with her too, whatever. So maybe she didn't see. But to say that, the rest of the women are not really supporting you, I don't think that was right. Because like I said, let's be real for a second, okay? I think it's ironic that Dorit mentioned a couple of episodes ago that Amanda always came with a sulky attitude, or she brings her energy. But that's exactly what Dorit has done. We have not gone through an episode, even starting from last year, where we did not hear about Dorit's divorce. And what did the women do? Everybody listened. They gave some feedback. Everybody tried to support her in some kind of way. They just let her talk. And even like Kyle said, Dorit had the nerve to say, well, nobody's giving me grace. That's a lie. If that was the case, they would have been called you out about being late. But they didn't. They just let it go. And they actually waited for you. They didn't leave you like you left Kyle and Erika last week. Like they should have left you. There's been a few times they should have just left her. But they didn't do that. I feel like they've given you plenty of grace and support. So if I'm me being petty, she say that we don't support her. And that's what I don't show up at your book's launch, right? And I still don't support you. That's me. That's what I would do. You want to see what no support looks like? I will show you. Boom. Team petty. Okay? So, I think more drama will unfold next week, and we'll just have to see how Dorit rolls. And who knows, Dorit might end up on a whole island all by herself with Bose and Rachel, because that's all she's going to end up with if she keeps on the road she's at. So, anywho, if you like this content, make sure to like and subscribe. Thanks. See you next week.